Ease.
How to be kind to ourselves while we're waiting, while we're seeking, while we're aching sometimes, while we're grappling with the questions that I believe brought us here into this world, into this earth. Kindness. Kindness is that thing you do to yourself to keep air circulating inside of your lungs. That thing you do to water yourself. It is the things that we do to keep ourselves from falling off of the edge we've negotiated to stay on most, if not all, of our lives. It is that thing we've been taught to be to others, but that thing we most ache for within ourselves, and that we forget to pour into ourselves. Kindness is the thing of wings. With each awakened breath in, a kind of sewing oneself together, stitching the parts that bulge at the edges. It is that thing we came to remember about. Kindness. You are not here to make the world feel comfortable. You are not here to contort yourself to the expectations of others. I've had to learn that part of why I am here the hard way. And it is why I know that I'm here to teach what I have learned. This realization and remembrance is giving me the room to show up with confidence, with a kind of faith and knowing, while also giving myself room to grow. Listening and kindness remind me of one another. Kindness is a listening in on where your heart is at any moment and of what it's trying to say to you. So much of our listening is external, and kindness is asking you to look inside, to have a willingness to hear yourself out. No, but really, to hear yourself on a deeper level. The level at which you would rather just ignore the inclinations of our hearts that bring up the uncomfortable feelings to the surface. It is a looking into yourself so that you can see yourself. It's not so much about the doing, but about the being. And in the being, it's about the learning from that being, allowing life to flow through you and relinquishing the tactics of the mind. And welcome back to the Secret Garden. Today I wanted to talk about kindness. How to be kind to ourselves while we are trying to figure things out. How to be kind to ourselves while we're waiting, while we're seeking, while we're aching sometimes, while we're grappling with the questions that I believe brought us here into this world, into this earth. It's so disturbing how much shame and guilt and worthlessness even sometimes that so many people feel because they haven't quite figured out what it is that they want to do with their lives. They haven't figured out who they are. They haven't figured out what they want to be and to do in this world. I mentioned some videos ago about my own personal transition and the questions that I'm currently stewing within with regards to my life and my path, and I will share it in the description box below. But I spoke about how I was sensing for something truer and new within my life. For almost 7 years now, I've been in the role of healer, of teacher, and of a transformation guide. And there is a part of me, a large part of me, that knows that that is not the complete story. There is an origin story or an origins kind of knowing, and knowing in the form of an action of who I was and what I did when I was younger, and the way that I expressed myself without anyone asking me to, the ways that I soothed myself and tried to make sense of this world and to ground myself into this experience was through using my hands, through creating, through making. I was scrapbooking, I was taking fabric and materials and reconstructing it, making clothes and making covers for my books, but I've always been connected to my hands, and that's what kind of grounded me and kept the anxiousness that I often felt within this world at bay. As soon as I allowed myself to express doubt or to feel the frustrations that I was feeling around my life in the last couple of years, I then began to grieve what I had lost many, many years ago, but also to invite the grieving of the healer who's approaching retirement. That sounds so dramatic, but that's basically the transition that I am in. The transition that I am in. I have received guidance, and it's just become clearer to me that being a hands-on healer is something I'm going to be doing less of in the coming chapter. There's so much relief about that. And that is the kindness that I'm speaking about today, the kindness of allowing yourself to hear yourself, even when it's scary, even when it's hard. Because the thing about the things we desire for ourselves and the things that we know make us happy, and sometimes we don't even know right? We've forgotten. We have no idea when someone says, what do you want to be? What did you want to be when you were younger? Or what do you want to do? What's your purpose? What is your calling? And you have no idea. That's okay. And sometimes it's enough to say, okay, maybe that's okay. I accept that. Maybe the acceptance will be something that propels you to the next thing, that will inspire new answers to come through. So I'm sitting in a makeshift studio that I will share more about in the future. Soon though. Just the process of what I went through to create it. And this, of course, is my slowly preparing myself to transition more into doing the thing that I came here for, that empowers me, energizes me, and that comes with so much ease. The easiest thing that comes to me is creating. And so, what is being kind to oneself? What does that mean? I have learned that it is about how we talk to ourselves, the voice that we use, the words that we choose, and what they mean. It's about not hiding things any longer from ourselves, even the deepest ones we've buried and we've tried to forget about. It's the tones. Being kind to ourselves is not doing what we don't want to be doing. And this is not to say that we must now quit our jobs because we don't want to work. Of course, there's responsibilities. But once we unearth what is hidden, the truth of what it is that we actually want for our lives, then we can begin to set our intentions in that direction instead of walking around aimlessly, terrified of owning up to what it is we really dream about. It's about learning what we'd rather be doing, moving our bodies towards that direction. Being nice to ourselves is about learning about what we need. And to move the body, right? I've said that just now, but to move the body because all the information and the bits that are stuck are inside the body. And we want to wake up what is hidden, right? All of life happens within the body, and so just close your eyes and move, stand up and move in this moment. And feel the life beating inside of you. Kindness moves with the movements of your body. Yeah. All of us have a place that appreciates movement. This doesn't have to be about exercise, but there's something each of us can find and own that allows us to access that patience, that kindness that's inside. Through this process of coaxing the answers out, trying to listen to myself, yes, I realized just how scary it is to listen, how frightening it is to allow the voices that are repressed, that are stuck inside, that we've been denying ourselves to receive or to hear, to come out, and to allow them, to coax them out, and to ask them to come to the surface so they can be heard. It's frightening, you know. I realized the amount of fear that was inside of me with regards to the work that I truly want to do. And the heartbreak of being separated from my art and not even ever believing that it was anything significant when I was younger, And then the attempts that I tried to make earlier on in my life when I went to photography school but couldn't continue because of finances and just life and things like that. Never having had the time to fully immerse myself within the art, there's been this fear that, it's either useless or it's not going to work, or, the countless amount of excuses. And they're not even excuses, justifications. Maybe they are excuses actually, but I was shocked and at some point sad at the amount of fear that I had, of shame and guilt and anxiety that I had around wanting to do what I wanted, because I didn't think that be believed, if that makes sense. I didn't think that it would be received, that I would be believed, that anyone would think it was worthy. Meanwhile, the entire point isn't about me facing everybody else and asking them whether, is this going to work? Is this going to work? Or, the point was for me to take all of that energy that I was using to look outside of myself, face it inside so that I could soothe myself, understand myself, hear myself. And once I started to do that, to receiving the guidance as to how to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing and the next thing, and to believe myself in the sense that there's something that happens when I'm within this space that I cannot name. And maybe that nameless force is the guiding angel that I need to lean into. This is when I began to be kind with my questions, to be kind with the queries around my life, to be kind about the times that we are within as a humanity. Those of you who identify as the black sheeps, identified as the star seeds, or the chosen ones, or the misfits, or those of you connected to your galactic gifts and families who have struggled so much within your lives, whether it be trauma, whether it is by fitting in, the story. There is a huge shift that is occurring within ourselves, within our own individual lives, and within the world, within the collective. The light of the sun is recalibrating us on a cellular level. And so we cannot remain the same. And a lot of us are frustrated right now and are in a lot of discomfort and pain because we're insisting on staying the same when the environment, the vibrational, energetic space that we're in, this earth has changed. And we know that we are here to lay down the foundation and to build the earth that we came here for, the one that isn't quite here yet, because we struggled in this Piscean age. We struggled. But now we're making room for the quirkiness and the love, unconditional love, and the freedom and being like water and the magic that is to come. We know it. We've glimpsed it. We feel it often. But the struggle that we also face is the struggle between what the false matrix, this system, has taught us is real, what gives us worth, what makes us valuable people, what it means to be an adult, what it means to deserve respect and to deserve honor. And it isn't often those things that are given freely to people who are misunderstood or people who seem a little bit weird. And so we let all of these things become blockages within our life. And I'm offering in this video that kindness is the way forward while we try to figure out what it is that we've come here for, what songs we have come to sing. It's about being kind. And to me, kindness and patience are almost the same thing. And it's being patient with the unfolding of the journey. It's being patient with the frustrations. It is being patient with the voice that can be violent within your head sometimes, and to be kind in speaking to that voice and telling that voice that you are no longer needed. I no longer need you to survive in the world that is crumbling, because I am readying myself for the world that I came here to build. To be kind enough to yourself to know that you will be ready when you're ready, and sometimes you're ready. And to let kindness be the one that discerns the false voice from the true voice. To let kindness be like the fragrance of the flowers in spring. And let kindness be the one now to lead, you know. We're letting go and we're allowing ourselves to be ourselves. Other people are doing it for me, which gives me the courage to do it, and then I have to have the courage so I can do it for you, who might need the courage to do what you're being called here to do, so that someone else might be inspired by you. A candle loses nothing by lighting another, and that's what we're here doing in this life at this current juncture that we're in, because we know things cannot stay the same. And we need the magicians and the pixies and the weirdos and the misfits and the light workers and the magic beams, light beams, to remember who they are and to allow themselves to dream, and to allow themselves to hear themselves, and to allow kindness and kindness in. So I hope that you will be kind to yourself. You will be kind to your path. You'll be kind to your questions. You will be kind with your struggles. You will be kind with your relapses. And yeah, just remember, it's not just that we are going ascending. Ascension isn't an event that's like outside of ourselves. It is a spiraling back into remembrance, and sometimes we'll have to circle back to other lessons, to the same lessons, but we are spiraling back to those lessons from a different vantage point, from a different window. And the more we allow ourselves to surrender to the way, to the questions, to the guilt, to the shame, and all of those things that come up, the more that we can transcend them and allow something else to come through. You know, whatever the story is, it's yours, and it's okay for you to own it completely, so that you can water it with your kindness, so that you can blossom into what it's meant to be. Cause and effect. May kindness seek you out and clothe you, cover you like a blanket,